Hey, friends. So, um, couple really kind of key moments today I would say in an almost, I mean, right now, this is always how it goes. At the beginning of a post, I'm like, these two completely unrelated and randomly co occurring things happened today. And then by the end of the post, I realize how they're connected, or at least how they fit into a larger pattern that is that where there is a kind of internal logic to them. We'll see. That may happen, it may not. It doesn't always work out that way. But I had a conversation today with somebody, a collaborator, great friend and collaborator, and we were just chatting about a project. We had a meeting a few days ago, and we some things happened. It was a good meeting, and and there was one particularly well, I'd say it was a moment, a particularly trying moment with another collaborator on the meeting, and we, in some ways, I had sort of like had my response after the call and kind of brushed it off, kind of shook it off, but not fully digested or processed it. And today, the conversation with my collaborator was that they were even more upset than I was about, or incensed at least by the event. Maybe not more incensed than I was, but they were equally incensed. And having that reflected gave me a kind of, it dignified my own response in a way, because I felt like my response was in some ways more, I could rely on it as being justified, because if it's just me having a response to a collaborator, you kind of never know. It's like, am I just out of line here? Is my ego running with me? Like, it's hard to, I think we can get pretty good at self evaluating, but there's always a sort of relief in confirmation from the external that puts things to rest. It's like, okay, I'm not crazy. That was actually messed up. Like, I experienced something messed up. And so that was the other thing it did was it reminded me that even though my response was justified, it was unnecessary, because everybody else in the room already understood what was happening. Everybody else was kind of already there with me. And that's a nice feeling, because it allows me to have my response, which is natural and justified, and not get too worked up about it. I don't have to convince anybody of it. I don't have to go on a crusade or even ever say anything else about it. It's like I can just trust. And that feels good. That feels really good. And it just gives me a sense of, somewhat a sense of relief, just a bit of relief that I'm in a safe place, in a project that I really care about, and that, my main motivation to get the work done and to do the work in a really meticulous and rigorous way, that everybody with the possible exception of this difficult collaborator already already knows, that they're already there. I don't have to convince anybody. So, relief. Then, this is the other event, the one that I can't yet figure out if it's related. Um, then I had the conversation actually happened towards the end of the day, but the main event of the day was hanging out with my daughter and doing music. And we had a nice long practice day, not exorbitantly long, but long considering that immediately after practicing for the bulk of the day, I drove her to a piano lesson. She did another 45-minute lesson with her teacher. And when she came out, the teacher said she focused really well today. I was like, really? I didn't like fry her brain with all the work we'd already done before she came here? Good to know. And then we went to a restaurant to celebrate my brother-in-law's birthday. And Annalise wanted, there was like paper, tablecloth, paper, you know, like those papers that they put over the tablecloth to protect it. She wanted me to draw music and write out melodies for her to sing and like play with this. It's like a guess the melody game where we write out the pitches of a melody and then we have to guess the song. We do it as part of our practice. She wanted to play that game at the restaurant. And then she got obsessed with drawing treble clefs. So she's like trying to draw treble clefs. It was like, and she wanted me to assume the persona of the teacher, which is my Russian, like, whip cracking piano teacher persona that I spend large portions of the day now rendering in real time. It's kind of it's quite the etude, really. It's, if I could tell you how amazing it is to have that enthusiasm around something that I'm sharing with my daughter, and I sense there's like this deep sense that this is big for her, but I have to constantly ensure internally that I'm not imposing something on her. I have to ensure that this is a gift, that I'm giving this with a kind of like take it or leave it ultimate attitude, because as a musician, as somebody who's like a lifelong musician, it's so satisfying to me to nurture a child's musical development. It's, well, to nurture my child's musical development. I don't know how nurturing it would be to nurture other people's children's musical development. It is also, that can also be beautiful. I've had some wonderful experiences, but there's something about teaching my own child that feels like it's a particularly unique situation. I've never felt anything like it. And of course, I've never had access to anyone like this. I've never had basically a student who lives with me and we work every single day. So there's that. But to feel that is blossoming in a way, that's opening into something greater and larger, and it's becoming an ever more it's just expanding. It's consuming more of our lives. It's becoming a bigger and bigger part of our lives, and not in a good way. It's like taking on. We communicate through music. We play through music. We have games. There's a character that I play that she loves. There are these games we play to that are part of our practice, but they are becoming part of just our play with each other. I mean, there's hardly anything that can compare to that feeling. And again, I suppose the way in which I can sort of very quickly connect these two events is that it teaches me to trust. It teaches me that I can trust what I'm doing. I may always question, and I think it's probably good for me to question. It's probably good for me to always check. How much am I imposing this? What am I imposing something? Am I imposing anything at all? What am I giving here? What is my agenda? Is my agenda based on my own assumptions or biases or motives, or am I listening and in service? And the thing is, when you're working with a kid, sometimes you still have to sort of impose things. In other words, make demands that they are telling you they don't want you to make. That on one level they're saying that, but you kind of know on another level they do want you to make those demands. This is the three-dimensional chess of parenting and teaching, because sometimes they will be telling you the literal thing you need to hear. Other times they'll be telling you the opposite. Other times they'll be telling you something that's mostly accurate but a little bit inaccurate. Other times it'll be mostly inaccurate, but there'll be a little bit of truth in there. The endless practice is to stay in that game, to stay attentive, to stay reflective, to stay awake, to stay sensitive, listening, giving, ready to move, ready to engage, not letting fatigue set in and help settle us back to a kind of like complacency. It's a remarkable journey. Absolutely remarkable. And it's really nice in the context of that to be reminded that I can trust. I can trust myself. I can trust the process. And I can just keep doing the work. I can keep doing the work. Everybody's on board. So that's my day. Learning to trust. That's where I am today, people. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.